You're listening to the Platte River Bard.
Hello, and welcome to the Platte River Bard. This is Chris Berger.
And I'm Sherry Berger.
And today we are here with some of the Florentine Players with Florence Community Theater, and specifically with Eric Green and Nate Hunzeker. Welcome to our little program, the Platte River Bard. Thank you very much, guys, for coming to talk with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Excellent. Now, of course, you are specifically here to talk about one of your upcoming productions, Now You Are Dead. But before we get to that, which it sounds awesome, Mr. Green, you are said director and adaptor, one of the adaptors of this project. Tell us a little bit about what was involved putting this together and your sort of involvement with the Florentine Players.
Absolutely. Well, I've been a longtime Florentine player. What feels like a long time. I know some others would say I'm just a whippersnapper of 13 years.
Yes.
But I've kind of been all over the place in Florence. I've been, in shows, I've directed shows, I've written some shows. This would be the first one that I've actually kind of brought and adapted. As far as that goes, with that, I guess the little story of how I brought this to Florence. This was originally a show that I did a couple years ago. I'd say probably up to like 8 years ago now, with a group that was in the Blue Barn in Omaha, known as the Witching Hour. Which again, those four original writers basically were all members of that group, and we would perform shows in the evening. And this was kind of one of the shows that they did, which this was kind of my intro to that group, because I was all about the interactive fiction kind of stories, the stories that are legally distinct, where you can choose your own adventure. But basically, it was just kind of a thing that I brought to the group in Florence, and I said, hey, we can do this. And they decided, well, you just got to maybe change some of the language. And that's where the adaptation kicked in.
Excellent.
Fun.
Excellent. So Amir, 13 years. Gosh, you just...
It really flew by.
Wow.
It absolutely did.
Now, gosh, Nate, 13 years. Now, you've been around for a little bit. With the Florentine Players. Gosh, maybe not 13 years, although...
minus 10 from those.
Minus 10, but that's
3
all
years.
right. But you've been in a bunch of stuff in that 3 years.
That's great. You always need new people.
That's all right, but you've been going sort of big time since you've been there and been doing a bunch of stuff. We've seen you a few times, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, I think so too. So
most likely, yeah.
So you're in this production. Do you want to talk a little bit about what you had to do to learn this role and what you'll be doing?
Okay. So
how big was the script that they handed you for this thing?
Yeah.
The script is 120 around that pages, 120 pages and I counted.
Eric!
I have almost 400 lines myself that I have to remember for this show. And the fun part about it is that it's not, sequential. Nothing happens one after another. Like we can go just different routes in the play, so I have to remember it in that way as well, those lines and how they fit.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So let's get to this then. This is Now You Are Dead. That is the name of this production, which is a great name.
Pick your own play adventure.
Pick your own play adventure. So you're talking about lines that you may not even have to deliver, that you need to memorize, depending on what the audience does, apparently. So how does I know how this works because I know what this is getting at, but everybody may not know this because I grew up reading these books. And this is a thing. So what is a pick your own play adventure? Why is this different from every other play that you've seen?
Well, I can take that. Basically, the way that this show works is, you're presented with a situation. The easiest way to kind of explain it is kind of doing a quick summary of the opening. You basically wake up. There is a narrator that basically kind of is the avid, kind of talks to the audience and is essentially kind of reading the story for them. At certain moments in the show, you will hear a ding, which basically means it's now time for the audience to make a choice. Each of the audience members are basically given a voting paddle, for lack of a better term. One side is white, one side is black, and so the narrator will basically say, if you want to do this, hold up the white side of the paddle. If you want to do this, hold up the black side of the paddle. And then, depending kind of on a majority vote, the narrator will basically take that choice, and then we'll move further down that side of the branch. Okay. So, and these decisions can seem trivial at the time of literally, do you answer a phone or not? Or they could be very extreme in, doing things, do you stay and fight or do you run away?
Right, yeah, sure.
So, and again, all of that has a reaction and a scene. Now, maybe that scene was the wrong decision, you die, and then what we'll do is reverse you back to the previous decision and move you forward.
So the audience can make the wrong decision and literally bring the story to an end, but they get a reset.
There are some that are quick resets where we just take you back to the last choice, and some are deaths that basically will stop that story. We'll take an intermission, and then we'll go down a different branch for the night. So the audience each night sees about 3/4 of the show. We have like 4 major branches, sure. And each night the audience will go down a different branch. But even within those branches, there is stuff that you won't see that evening. So definitely, more so than any other, we do encourage the audience to come multiple nights to see something, because the show will be different every night.
Oh, neat. I was wondering if Nate has, as a business major, I have to wonder, after taking lots of stats classes, if you've sat down to do the odds on what lines that you'll have to remember and which ones you won't.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's probably what I would do if somebody handed me a script that was that big.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no, I'm not going to take that chance, in case that one option is chosen. Right. It's like, oh no.
Exactly.
Have you guys, as far as rehearsal goes, have you guys sort of had like a little test audience, and then as you run through the show, or a person representing a test audience, and just say, choose that, and just start randomly choosing stuff just to rehearse through specific scenes, or?
I've kind of been modifying that. Obviously, in the early stages, we kind of didn't pick choices. We just kind of said we're going to run everything to get blocking down,
right?
So everybody knew at least once what they were doing.
Sure.
Then that kind of modified into, I'm going to pick the most wrong decisions possible. So we're doing the most scenes in one run.
Oh, sure. Okay.
And then it kind of modified to, I literally just pull up a dice roller.
Okay.
And
sure.
So just made random chance happen.
Yeah.
And we had one night where our light and sound person was there, and I basically let them pick, having not seen the script before.
Oh, cool.
Because and I wanted them to see the show, because obviously light and sound are going to have their head on a swivel due to the unique nature, so they're not really going to be able to kind of sit and enjoy as much. No. So it was kind of letting them see how the show was. So
wow, it's a lot like D&D.
That's awesome.
Very much.
It's I mean, as far as the whole trend towards interactive theater and getting the audience involved, this is super super neat, and one of the most sort of quote unquote interactive things I've ever seen. The audience literally gets to choose what Nate gets to do.
Yep,
You are putting the power in their hands, Nate.
And Nate's kind of not the only one, because Nate has a, I guess, for lack of a better term, companion through all of the branches as well, played by Sara Scheidies. And she kind of is at the whim of the audience as well, because she's kind of what I call a Schrodinger's girl, because at any one time she could be 4 separate things at once, and they are very unique things. And she's pretty much on stage about as much as Nate is with the lines. So respect to her.
Yeah, we were able to meet with her.
Yes.
The last time we podcasted.
Yeah, I think it was the last time. Yeah.
So what did you do, Nate, to memorize all 400 lines? How did that go? Like, what was your process?
God.
To learn those?
Let's see. Yeah, no problem.
Flashcards?
What helped me the best was 2 things. One, thinking of it as like 4 different plays. I'm not sure why, but that helped. Rather than just like one big book that I memorized each page of, I split it up into 4 different plays, as in the 4 different branches. I also had an app that would just be like a computer generated voice that, you could just type the lines or, import from a PDF into the app.
Oh, yeah.
And they would read the lines to me, and I'd be like, okay. And then when it's my turn, I would, say my lines.
Oh,
so that helped me memorize a lot.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great idea.
That's a really great idea.
Yeah. So how long did that take?
Oh, yeah. Still doing it today.
Yeah.
And then there's that.
That's all right. Hey, as long as it's there before the curtain goes up and it comes out of your mouth.
You have 5 more days, sir.
Man.
Oh, yeah.
It's like over 100 hours.
You'll be fine. You always know it better than you think you do.
Yeah.
You always know it better than you think you do.
Absolutely.
It's true. I know directors always get nervous.
So is this one of those shows that Florence is doing that are you having food and stuff beforehand, or how are you working the tickets?
I believe the kitchen will be open. During that, as always, our bar is open at intermission as well. I don't think we're necessarily bringing anything in. I think a lot of that's just getting served in. I've heard rumors, so I don't want to set up too much expectation, but I have heard that meatballs will be served, which does kind of relate to the show somewhat.
Okay, all right.
So we have kind of that going on. So I have heard that, so it won't be like big stuff, but it'll be kind of snacks and things of that nature.
Okay.
But yeah.
So this says on it that it's not suitable for children. So you're recommending 13 and up.
Yes.
Do you want to make any comments about that?
I gotcha. So while, yes, we did tone it down from the 11 o'clock show, there is still a lot of references to things that are definitely not for the kids.
Okay.
And also, comical violence. You kind of want to watch that if you're not there.
Fair enough.
We do talk about, torture. We do talk about things of that nature. So we just wanted to make sure all of that. Again, I don't think we don't push the envelope too heavily. Nate's shaking his head no. But there are some things that I would be a little worried if you bought it like a 6-year-old too.
Okay.
You might have to answer a lot more questions than you're comfortable with.
Right.
Fair enough. Maybe a little too early for some questions. All right. Fair enough.
Well, and I know, Eric, you're really involved in Big Canvas. And I know you've done a lot of comedy. I know you've won a lot of awards as well for that. This is really perfect and up your alley. How did it come about that you decided to get this script? And I mean, I know Tracey is also part of this as well. And I know she's also very well renowned in improv. But,
well, yeah, absolutely. And Tracey is also a big part of the Florentine Players as well. Yes. So she's actually the one that brought me in to the Players a long time ago. So, as far as bringing the script in, I just it was one of those things where Florence is very much if you've ever gone to a melodrama or anything like that, you definitely know how interactive the audience can be, even when, we encourage it, but we don't, say you have to have a point. So now it's just kind of giving them the wheels. So I just felt like this was a perfect fit for Florence.
Yeah.
In getting the audience, back in and kind of enjoying it. Also, a relatively small cast, which is a thing you always have to be cognizant of in times like these.
Mm-hmm.
So again, the cast is, for that 123 pages, the cast is all but 5 people. So you kind of have to manage that. So it was par for the course. And again, this has been an idea that I've been wanting to do for a while, even from the last time I did this with the Witching Hour. So.
Yeah. So Nate, you've done a few things at Florence. So how did you get into theater?
Okay, so I first started theater when I was basically in kindergarten. I was a little fox in like a little Wizard of Oz kind of play. So luckily my family inducted me to theater early, so I got over stage fright pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I did theater all through high school. I stopped in college. I did more music-related things. And then I moved to Omaha for a career.
Mm-hmm.
And then my first show was actually with the Circle Theater, The Hobbit.
Oh, okay.
I was one of the dwarves.
Yeah.
Yep. And then one of the actors there introduced me to the Florentine Players. And the first show I did with the Florentine Players, and I'm looking at Eric right now, I was a henchman to Eric, my boss.
That's awesome.
And I was a little bit bullied in that show from Eric's character.
Eric.
He was a lot of bit bullied. In that show.
A lot of bit bullied.
Which show was that?
Yeah, that was Farley Barley and
Barley.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Our melodramas are starting to now have Fiona Apple album cover titles.
Yeah, they're getting longer and longer. Yeah.
But I remember it as Farley Barley, and basically I played the supposedly supposed to be like the Slugworth to Farley Barley, which was a Willy Wonka kind of parody, but it was based on beer.
Yes.
Based on the Stoll's Brewery, and I played Bartles and James, which was the evil other brewer,
right?
And Nate played one of my subordinates,
henchman number 3.
Number 3.
Yes,
you did have a name though.
I did. I forgot what my name was.
Yeah, it was either like Falstaff, Schlitz,
I think I was Falstaff or something.
Yeah,
awesome.
So again. He luckily did not have to get sat on by me, as some other subordinates had to. But he
did get kicked in the behind.
Yes, you did. But yeah, so that was your first show. I just realized that.
That's awesome. And Eric, so did you get into theater first, or did you get into comedy first?
Oh, I was very much a theater kid. I don't think I made it to kindergarten, but I was definitely the first show that I was in was in 2nd grade.
Wow, both of you very early. Wow, great school, both. Yeah,
I had a very encouraging teacher. Basically, the first show I remembered I was a lazy squirrel, and the big deal was I was the only one that had lines outside of just like the whole class saying something at once. And then for the Christmas program, I played Santa. So, kind of ever since then, I've always been that kid that when I got an English book in school, I would always look to see what the play was, because there was always a play in there.
Yep.
And kind of read that stuff. And took a little bit of a break in high school, but I was always interested in the theater, but I wasn't necessarily in it. And then kind of college kicked off, and then got to do some professional theater out in Brownville. Was part of the Brownville Village Theater for a couple of years.
Did you do one of their summer the deals?
I've done their summer deals 3 years, 2003, 2005, and 2006.
Wow.
Recently went back and did one of their Christmas shows a couple years ago.
Oh, neat.
So
cool.
And then done stuff at the Playhouse. Was an apprentice at the Playhouse. Kind of been all around Omaha, but I have definitely kind of made Florence my home. It's a place that has absolutely been able to kind of foster the creativity that I have, as well as doing improv anywhere I can with Big Canvas and other things, and that's kind of been a fun thing because it's all the fun of theater without all the prep work. It really is, because it's like, hey, we're going to fight a dragon. If you're doing that in theater, you're having to build a dragon costume, build a prop, build a set, memorize lines, write down lines, lights, whereas in improv, it's just, I'm going to fight that dragon. And I walk over and start fighting the dragon.
That's right.
So there's something very freeing about that.
Yes.
Neat. How did you get into improv? Did you start with one of the classes, or?
I did. Basically, I had a friend from theater, and I will give him his props. Dylan Rohde was studying out at UCB in LA, and he came back and kind of said, "Hey, I want to go ahead and start a theater, an improv theater in here, because I see that at the time Nebraska was pretty much like Weisenheimer's 88 Improv." Drop your voice. So there really wasn't a big place to kind of start and learn.
Yeah.
So he started the Backline Theater, and that is a theater that's still running today down in Harney.
Yeah.
And I was part of the first class he had. And then, we just kind of, so I was performing. And then we decided, why don't me and a couple of other friends, Doug Rothgeb, Tracey, Mauk, Lindsay Thies, Heather Jones, we kind of decided to do our own improv theater where we'd focus more on the whose line is it anyway type stuff, and also try to make it more family friendly. And so we started a nonprofit, which was Big Canvas, and we have moved that out to our own location that's out on 36th and Farnham.
Yeah.
So we've been doing shows there.
That's a new building. So I remember going, it's been years. It's probably been close to 20 years. But I remember going to an improv show, and it was up off of 90th and Blondo. Were you guys there before then, or where were you
90th?
Before you?
Well, we've had a couple of different locations. We were very nomadic in the early stages of Big Canvas, where we didn't have a place.
Yeah.
I know we were doing places at we were performing a lot of like Sozo Coffee House, and pretty much we would be going to a lot of other places. So as bad as my memory is, we might have been performing that night, and I honestly can't remember. But yeah, it was very much a thing where that's also the fun thing about improv is it can travel a lot easier as well.
Right.
Yeah, that's
to
true.
have all those props and stuff. Yeah, I just remember it was hilarious, and there was lots of Smurf jokes.
Lots of Smurf joke. Well, there you go.
That's about the time that it was.
Hey, man.
Okay.
Well, that's been a while.
Very much. Yeah. Well, and again, that's the ethereal nature of improv.
Right.
You do it, and it's great, and then it's gone.
And then it's gone. And then it's gone.
Right.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Now, Nate, of course, you started early in grade school and started being a little performer. Did you kind of lay off in high school and you said kind of pursued more music stuff? When did you kind of circle back around? And
yeah, so it was actually in college and high school. I did all the 1X, did all the spring plays in high school that I could.
Cool.
And in college, I laid off and decided to focus more on music, on my trumpet.
Okay. Trumpet, huh?
Yep, trumpet.
That's cool.
Nice. You still play?
Here and there, more likely in community bands. I kind of stopped in this last year or two, ever since, of course, the pandemic.
Right.
So,
Fair enough.
Mainly, I just been getting more into theater. I'm like, oh man, I still love this.
Right.
So I've been just going hard, about 2 plays a year.
That's awesome.
There you go.
This is such a neat idea. It's such a great idea. I'm so jealous that you get to be in this. I mean, I realize it's a lot of work, but this is going to be unlike anything you've ever been in and ever got to do, and anything that really I've ever seen. I mean, I've seen, yes, it's some similar, but not to kind of this degree is what it sounds like. Mm-hmm. I mean, the audience is in charge.
Yay.
Very much so.
Yeah.
For better or worse, the audience is in charge. And I will say, I showed this to Nate. There's literally a flow chart, and I haven't quite picked. I can't remember exactly how many endings there possibly are, but I want to say there's like 13 total.
Oh wow!
And there actually is a way to get through the night without dying.
Wow.
So there is some prerequisite depths up top just to kind of show you what a death looks like. And then there's one final death that will always happen every night to kind of send you toward the ending. But there is a way to get through the night without you dying.
Wow.
I'm not going to tease too much, but if you want to try to figure it out, come see the show.
This is brilliant.
Yeah.
This is brilliant. I love this so much.
Awesome. Yeah, I do too. I'm so glad that we're getting a chance to talk about it so that people really understand.
Yeah, they kind of understand what it is.
everything that
Yeah.
is happening.
Part of the allure is the fact that it's a little vague and a little kind of, I don't want to give too much away because I want the surprise to be there.
Yeah.
But especially it's been interesting just coming and showing everybody props, and they're like, "What is that for?" And I go, "I'll never tell you.
You'll never know.
You have to figure this out, and we might never use this, but I needed to acquire it."
That's right. Who knows if we'll use it?
Well, so do you guys have costumes, or is this in a particular era?
Yeah. Is it? Give me. What era do you start off in? Maybe.
It is set in present day.
It is present day. Okay.
We try to keep everything kind of in the same genre. As far as that goes. There is, I guess Nate's you and everything. So Nate looks very similar in a lot of stuff, and he's just basically wearing a shirt, t-shirt, and flip-flops.
All stuff already in my closet, so
I didn't know if there was like medieval axes, and you said torture, so I went medieval.
More common day torture. I will say that there's that kind of stuff, but like a lot of it is kind of a base, and then stuff is thrown on top of it.
Okay.
For the other actors who are, like I said, because all of these parts, and there's only basically two other actors performing, as we have our narrator played brilliantly. I want to make sure I mention everybody just in case.
Absolutely.
Played brilliantly by Ben Webb, who, like I said, is kind of he's outside of time and space reading to you.
Okay.
And then we have our two essentially villains, who literally in the script, one is named Guy and one is named Man. Who is played by Guy is played by Jim Watson, and Man is played by, I do this every time, John Carlson.
Okay.
Who play kind of the other ancillary characters, and each of them are basically the main villain in two of the branches, as far as that goes, and then the other one will play other characters inside of that.
Okay.
So it's very much at the time when this was originally written, this show was written to try to travel to a festival. Okay. So literally, with the exception of like major pieces of like a bed or a table or a chair, everything pretty much can fit into a suitcase.
That's great.
Awesome. And so it's very much amazing seeing how, this show essentially just comes alive every night.
So you're thinking about traveling with this show?
Hadn't thought about it, but just by design, in the way that it's written.
Yeah, it can.
It can.
It can,
for sure. Yeah.
That's great, though, because I've seen theaters that, will do some type of murder mystery like this, and they'll do it for a special, club dinner or something like that, and they want entertainment to come in and
stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I've done shows like that as well, where I've done murder mysteries that are somewhat improvised, to be fair. On those, where it's like, we're gonna pick someone and they're gonna be the murderer for some reason, and you just kind of come up with that on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah. Oh, neat. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, I hope this is break legs on this, man. I hope this is super successul for you. This sounds neat.
Well,
as hell.
and the other thing is with a show like this, we now know the format can work.
That's the
so
thing.
then it's then writing 4 other stories, and now we can fit them into
because now you got
kind of
this format and just change the stories, and it's a whole new.
And it's a whole new show.
Oh my God.
Love it.
I love it.
Very inventive. Well, break all the legs.
Break all the legs.
We wish you guys much success.
Yes, the Florentine Players, the Florence Community Theater. The name of the show is Now You Are Dead, a pick-your-own-play adventure. It's February 17th, 18th, and 19th at 7 p.m. and February 20th at 2 p.m.
And there's booze and food.
Yes.
Woohoo! And have some food.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Thanks very much, guys, for talking with us today.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for listening and supporting the arts in the Platte River area and beyond. Please subscribe to our podcast so you are sure to catch all of our future episodes and join us on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Music for this podcast was used with permission by Screaming Skull Productions. See you next time on the Platte River Bard.